Good afternoon. Welcome to the forecast discussion for January 31st, 2015. We're going to be focusing on a winter storm that's going to be impacting the region for late tomorrow night through Monday, with the potential for some heavy snow, sleet, freezing rain, and even some rain. So we're going to talk about the factors in this forecast, what I'm watching, and also break down the snow impact map that I have out. I've had out since this morning and explaining the changes that have occurred and what it means for you. So first of all, as always, observations are key. Okay, you can look at models all day and night. If there's one little error in these models, then they can send you on basically a goose chase. So what we have here right now, and what we need to realize, is that we have an Arctic air mass in place with very cold temperatures and low dew points. We have dew points in the single digits. We have temperatures ranging from the upper teens to mid 20s with wind chills in the single digits. So I think we can all agree that we have a very cold Arctic air mass in place, and that cold air will remain in place through this upcoming weekend, while temperatures very cold tonight in the single digits and lower teens. So clearly we're dealing with a rather impressive cold air mass. The question comes down to timing and tracking of our low pressure system that's developing out in the plains. So when we take a look at the surface map, we have one high pressure system that's over much of the region. This high pressure system will split. This will exit out the Atlantic. This high pressure system will start to collapse, and this high pressure system is the key high pressure system. This is our new Arctic air mass that will take hold as this cold front starts to what's called washing out and collapsing. So this cold front collapses, this high pressure system builds in. So I think we can all agree that this high pressure system will be to the north of our storm track, funneling in cold air from portions of the St. Lawrence River Valley, which is right here, down through the coastal plain. That's especially going to be key for our low-level cold air. Meanwhile, we have our storm starting to develop out here in the northern Rockies and heading towards the northern plains. This is our subtropical disturbance, and this disturbance is key for our upcoming storm because it's transporting moisture into this storm and also warm air. And that's a key factor here. You see, that's the difference between the European model guidance from last night and today. The storm track did not shift further north. What's called the 850 millibar low air at the mid-levels is slightly warmer because we have more moisture, therefore we have warmer air, therefore we end up with a slightly warmer solution. But again, remember that cold low-level air. So when we take a look at the radar, and as you can see, there is plenty of moisture here. Okay, there is no doubt whatsoever that we're dealing with a rather impressive storm here in terms of precipitation potential. We have moisture here to work with this storm. So with that being the case, when we take a look at the latest water vapor satellite picture, you can clearly see, once it loads, here it is, a couple of key points I want you to focus on. First of all, this trough here. This trough is producing what's called a negative NAO. Okay, that basically means there's a ridge up here in Greenland, trough around the Canadian Maritimes, and then you have our storm approaching from the plains. Why is this important? Because this feature is like a roadblock. The storm cannot go any further north than, say, about Philadelphia. Okay, let's say about Atlantic City. Okay, it can't go any further north than that because of this right here. Okay, now this is a pure observation. It's not model guidance. It's not, well, maybe it might be there. It's right here. It's sitting right here. It's a strong low, upper level low actually starting to develop here. So we have our block. Okay, we have our traffic cop. And as you can see, we have plenty of moisture being drawn northward. So we have a Pacific tropical connection that has been in place. We're getting the Gulf of Mexico connection in place. And here is our disturbance. Here's our winter storm diving south. So what should happen is that this low pressure and this low pressure basically phase together, and we develop a nice area of low pressure that's going to track through the northern plains and towards the Tennessee River Valley. Now that low is going to be right around Kentucky by the time we get to tomorrow morning. This low pressure system between tomorrow morning and Monday afternoon will then track towards the southern New Jersey coast and then start to rapidly intensify while leaving to the south of Long Island, which basically means that we're going to end up with a low pressure system starting to intensify as it's moving towards West Virginia. That's going to draw warm air northward. And then, as the low pressure system jumps towards the coast, cold air is drawn back towards the coast. This also means that if this storm track is just literally 10 miles further south, that we have to then adjust our warm air transport, our ability to get warm air northward further south. Again, based on this and this, your storm track has to cut, the furthest north it could cut is towards Kentucky, then up towards Pittsburgh, and off towards the southern New Jersey coast. It can't go further north than that unless this block absolutely collapses, which doesn't look like that's going to happen. So that would put your best snow potential for southern New England, for the New York City Metro, for northern New Jersey, the Hudson River Valley, and northeastern Pennsylvania. That puts your icy mix scenario basically locking in over Philadelphia, up through central New Jersey, and possibly the south side of Long Island. That might be one factor we're going to have to adjust as we move closer with this storm. Then your best rain potential is southern New Jersey. Southern New Jersey, I'm sorry, you're pretty much out of this, okay? Unless the storm track ends up down here in North Carolina, which I doubt it severely, then what we're basically going to have here is a scenario where we're just not going to see a storm that far south with this type of block. So let's jump to the forecast map real quick. And again, I want to bring up, when you're looking at the forecast map, please read this discussion because it's very key in explaining what is going on with this storm. So to go over the details, again, if you're in the blue or purple area, let me explain the purple area first. In that area, basically what we're dealing with is 6 to 12 inches of snow. If you have more mixing, look for 6 inches, less mixing, 12 inches. What does this plus stand for? Because of the temperatures being packed like they are, it's going to lead to areas of very heavy precipitation. The scientific term for this is called phronogenesis, okay? And this purple area is where I expect the best potential for phronogenesis. Therefore, you can end up with snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour in some of these locations. So that's what I have highlighted here. In the blue area, again, 6 to 12 inches in general. Now again, there is a potential for some sleet to mix into these areas, thus leading to the lower snowfall potential. In your red area, that includes southeastern Pennsylvania, just north of Philadelphia, Trenton, and central New Jersey. That's basically ranging from 3 to 6 inches. The faster you mix over, the lower the snowfall amount. Up to 3/10 of an inch of ice. Mostly sleet and freezing rain, mostly sleet in this scenario. I'm very concerned about that low-level cold air putting up more of a fight than what the model guidance is showing. Then as you head towards Philadelphia itself and towards Northern Ocean and southern Monmouth County, you're looking at anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of snow, 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of ice. Again, the faster you mix over, the lower the snowfall amounts. And then finally for the New Jersey coast, a trace to 2 inches possible. That 2 inches is if that snow, that first burst of snow is really heavy. And then a trace of sleet and freezing rain and going over the rain. For the most part, you're dealing with wet roadways on Monday morning over southern New Jersey. So again, this is a complicated forecast. That banding is going to create some issues here, I think, and lead to some areas where they're going to get what's called a sinking air and what some people call dry slotting, where the precipitation breaks up in spaces. So we're going to have to watch that as well. This is a complicated forecast. We're going to have to watch it very carefully. Of course, I'll have live coverage throughout tomorrow into Monday morning and through the day on Monday. That's your forecast discussion for today. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Thank you for following NY and JPA weather. And as always, stay safe out there.